Hey, what's up, people? I wanted to make more MBTI related content, and what I was thinking of as an INTP is basically inferior FE. I guess I'll just be talking about my relationship with FE in general because it's something that I don't necessarily care for, honestly. Like, we live in a world where people expect you to care about your feelings, and I'm just like, what the hell does that even mean? Like, to what extent? Because not everybody cares about everybody's feelings, and yet we exist in a world where people, because they want to appear, empathetic and sympathetic and whatnot, expect you to care about other people's feelings. But I mean, to what degree does that actually mean? Because we exist in a world where people have different agendas, people have different ideas, and, certain things that they want to push that contradict other people's. And it's like, no matter where you can be at, I don't know, if you come across the right person, and by right person I mean, okay, somebody that would be willing to challenge you, argue with you, because to a lot of people, their values are super important to them and the things that they stand for. So, honestly, I guess I don't really keep it in mind what I say, like, may or may not hurt or, like, upset anybody, because I kind of just think, okay, it's inevitable that we live in this world just for people to, like, shit on each other in a sense. Like, I'm gonna be annoyed, you're gonna be annoyed. Like, it's just this never ending cycle. So I think what people say is just, I don't know, things that may or may not like help you or whatever. But if you don't think it's useful to you, then you basically just discard it, which I kind of think is hypocritical of people when they don't want to admit that like they're selfish and only care about themselves. Because I'll be honest, I don't really think selflessness like is a real thing. It's easy for you to not think you're selfish if you have so many people surrounding you that basically give you the self confirmation bias that you need to stand for whatever it is that like you want to stand for. So, in relation to how people feel, I guess I'm not really swayed whenever I'm talking to somebody and we butt heads on a certain ideology. And if people want to say things like, oh, it's just for the greater good, or we're making the world a better place, blah, 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 yada, 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 I feel like that's the biggest scam. Like, no, you're not making the world a better place. You're making the world a better place for you and whoever the fuck agrees with you, because not everyone's going to be a satisfied customer. It's just simply not possible. People have different reasons for why they stand for the things that they, want to push. And we exist in a world where, in order to just like keep your peace, I guess, people just want to surround each other with people that more or less just agree with everything that they fucking say, no matter how much they want to believe that like they're open minded or whatever. Because I don't know, I kind of have this thought that like if you are open minded, quote unquote, then like why wouldn't you just be arguing with people like 24/7 low key? But then if you are that kind of person, people think you're annoying. Like you're the person that's like, oh my god, why are you constantly playing devil's advocate, this and this and that? But I mean, well, I thought people want to, expand their mind, quote unquote, because that's what it is to be open minded, right? Which is kind of why I would say that's why people don't really like NTPs in general. Like, I'm an INTP, but I guess it's more so akin to ENTPs, that like this debater, wanting to debate everybody like sort of thing like goes by. But actually, see, that's another thing that I wanted to address though. I think inferior FE is this like interesting situation where I guess if you don't have the, oh my gosh, crippling social anxiety, like, stereotype of like introverts in general, let's say, then you're probably more of like an ENTP. But honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of just think the NTP nature in general is just seeing this absurdity of life and thinking to yourself like, okay, why do you believe this? Blah blah blah, this and this and that. Because like we're an ongoing thinking process, I believe. Like regardless of whether it's TINENETI, then like these minds of ours as NTPs are just constantly clicking all the time, and you never get a moment of peace because there's always a search for truth. Even though maybe you keep thinking to yourself there is no such thing as truth, blah blah blah, all this kind of stuff. Well, basically, the contradicting nature of ideas and everything that exists, I would at least say that like compared to like other personality types, like NTPs are definitely the ones like aware of this, the most. Because I guess maybe I'm just talking about myself here. If any of you are like NTPs, you can like, weigh in here. I think when you exist as an NTP, you kind of just think that like something's missing all the time, because I guess you want to be logically consistent, but what is that? And what is the nuance of that? Blah, 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 this and that. Then it's like, it just drives you off the wall. And I guess when other people get like a glimpse of that, they kind of get annoyed because they just see you, yes, as the person that like constantly wants to keep poking at and shattering, the things that like they want to believe in, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. Which actually brings me to another thing that I wanted to talk about, which is, yeah, I'm sorry for the background noise if you can hear that. But anyway, all right. I've been told by, certain people here and there that like it would make more sense that I'm like an ENTP. But, kind of like a lot of the things that like I've just mentioned, I think this like naturally contradicting nature is probably just an NTP thing in general compared to like other types. But it's like, okay, yeah, this inferior FE idea where you have to be this like, oh my gosh, this like shy, hesitant person, blah, 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 is something that I kind of think is like stupid. Because like, sure, maybe that's the case for like certain INTPs. Like if that's you, then like, all right, yeah, I get it. But it's just like, as like an inferior FE person, kind of like what I said, it's not necessarily the first thing that comes to my mind in terms of like how people are going to feel, how is this going to affect them, because when we're discussing and we're talking about like ideas and something, then like we need to see, I guess, which one's going to stand. So I guess I don't even consider how I really feel about things as much. That's not to be edgy and say I have like no feelings at all, but it's like you can understand how I would struggle as an INTP going through like demon FI, like last place, like FI out of like all 8 cognitive functions. So, I don't like reflexively think about it compared to like some like certain types. So when I'm talking to somebody and I guess like, okay, I'm just like being like insistent, blah, 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 this and this and that, then it's like my high TI in comparison to my like inferior FE, I can be a pretty stubborn person. But I guess like if you're somebody that just like relies on like, let's say like stereotypes and whatnot, you might want to quickly say I'm an ENTP, but I'm actually not. But yeah, I guess that's what I have to weigh in for now when it comes to like inferior FE. I don't know, there might be a follow-up video, blah, blah, or like whatever, because, it's always an expanding thing you can talk about, I guess, much like everything, because everything's a lie. But, this will do for now.